Hi guys, and welcome back to the Finding Your Feet podcast. This podcast is dedicated to helping you live your best life. We talk all about wellness, positivity, and self-love.
Oh my God, love.
We've upgraded, we've grown.
We've grown, we've changed.
We've evolved.
We've abandoned our old intro. I love it. Thanks for that.
Yeah, we're just like our tagline, like it's still the same, but just getting old, wasn't it?
Yeah, like I feel like the audience, they probably don't even hear it anymore because they're so used to hearing it.
Yeah, it's like so robotic, it just comes out.
Yeah, what do you guys think? Do you think we're good to let it go? Do we
Yeah,
all want to
give us
move on
feedback.
together? We've been in Starbucks all morning, like having a Finding Your Feet strategy meeting, because as like we grow as people, obviously like the content will change because we started this like nearly 3 years ago. So, and I mean, we've grown as podcasters and as individuals. So like we want to talk about other things as well that we're interested in, you know. So we just need to have a little regroup. We need to just come back together and be like, right, what new things we want to talk about? What's the vibes? Where do we want to take it? And we decided we need to get rid of our thing, or like little line over it. We're not sure if we're going to come up with like a permanent new line, TBC. And my job at the minute is to work on the Finding Your Feet branding, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I will see if something comes to me. Maybe we'll introduce a new permanent intro.
Yeah, maybe a new one, or we can just freestyle. But no, it's so true. Like this podcast is so special to us, and it's like, what is this? Our 158, would it? Or is it 48?
No, I think this might be episode 150 now. This one that's coming out.
150. Yeah, I can't remember if it was 48 or.
That's crazy.
Oh yeah, 150. I mean, 150. That's like a lot.
Yeah,
It's a lot, and we've had so much fun. And it's like we always want to make sure we're, of course, providing value, enjoying it because we put so much energy into it. And just delivering kind of what you guys want to hear, but also just like making it fun. And like, we know you guys love it, but it's also so important for us to know like what you want to hear more of as we're growing and evolving. Like, we've got so many ideas that we want to bring to the table.
So many.
A lot. Especially after this morning. Yeah, literally.
Up.
So many. But then it's also just so important that we know like what you want to hear, because like you're the audience, you're the ones on the other end. So
yes. Speaking of, we have put something in the show notes, a little questionnaire that we want you guys to fill out. So if you just go onto the show notes right now, scroll. Okay. It will be called something like Finder's Questionnaire or your feedback questionnaire or something like that. Click on that and we will have made it really short, but just give us some feedback. Like, what do you want to hear more of? What do you love listening to? Just take like a minute of your time. But this is a podcast like for you guys. Do you know what I mean? Like we do it because we love talking about whatever, all this stuff. And we love that it helps other people. But it's also like for you too, you know? We're not, there is no media company. There is no hidden agenda. We're not a TV channel. We can talk about whatever the fuck we want to talk about. There's no censorship going on here. So, you know, bring things to us. So we'd love it like so much if you could fill out that little form, get involved, have your say in what you want to be seeing, because we've obviously come up with, honestly, the mind map was huge of things we're going to dive into and they're all juicy, and I do think you're going to love all of them, but we'd love to know as well what you guys would want to see from us or hear from us, because, you know, then we can include that as well.
yeah, and
it's
like
a family affair.
Exactly. And no suggestion is stupid or like weird or whatever. Like if you've got something in your mind that you'd love us to speak about, just say it. Because like we got an email the other day about something we never even think about. And
yeah. And it's like, I don't feel qualified to talk on it, but I'll get an expert on or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And then we're learning as well, and we're all finding our feet together.
Yeah, love that. So yeah, anyway, so today's topic though, we're talking all about your inner critic and like that internal pressure that we all have, whether that's to achieve certain things, to be out living our best lives. I know we just said that this podcast is to help you live your best life, but we don't mean that in like the generic term of like, oh, you're like on a yacht shaking your ass in Dubai, you know, like we mean like, you know, your best life, that can be having great mental health. It can be going to therapy. It can be loving your new workout class. It can be deciding to quit your job, telling your toxic boss to get effed and getting a new dream job. It can be starting a side hustle. You know, there's so many other ways. Living your best life could be dumping your shitty boyfriend, you know? So, but this internal pressure, I feel like we get it in terms of like, oh, I need to achieve all this stuff, but also, oh my God, I need to be out living my best life. Like I need to be partying and I need to be like making the most of my weekends and like thriving in my 20s and doing all this stuff. And I need to be dating everyone. And I need to be like doing all this shit. And like, what the hell if I'm not? Like FOMO, you know? So there's so much internal pressure from so many different angles. But we're just going to talk all about that today. Because it's kind of inspired because I actually, over the last like sort of week or so, could feel myself having secret anxiety. And I call it secret anxiety because I feel like it just creeps up on you and it's like, I'm here, I'm back, bitch. And it's just like, it's secret because like mentally I don't clock it, but physically I clock it because I start to like get all the like the anxiety symptoms. Like I was having a PT session last week on Thursday, and this is when I really started to notice the anxiety. And I think it was was it about to become like a moon? No, the moon was on Monday. So maybe it was the pre-energy of it. And I thought maybe it's the moon. Because I just felt nervous all day.
Yeah.
I was on my own in Starbucks working and I felt so nervous. And then I came home, got ready to go to the gym, and I felt so nervous about going to the gym. Like everything I was going to, I felt nervous. It was so weird. And then when I was actually at the gym, I was like, I couldn't catch my breath. I did PB squat some serious weights.
Oh yeah, you did.
Should we tell everyone?
Yeah, what was it again?
75 kilograms, kg.
Which is like a mad amount.
Yeah, but see, I know not very much about lifting weights because I've only just started doing it in the last 2 months. So when my PT put them on the thing and just told me to do it, I was like, yeah, okay, because I just do as I'm told in these sessions. Like I don't always even look at what I am lifting. I just do what I'm, do you know what I mean? So I'm not clocking yet really what's heavy, and I'm kind of realizing now, like obviously I'm lifting heavier than I was. But anyway, I did that and it was obviously hard. I mean, I was like, it's hard to even balance.
Is it? Yeah, I was gonna say, is it the one like where it's on a rack? And
yeah, it's a squat rack. Yeah, and you put it on like across your shoulders, across the top of your back, and then squat with it. Yeah. So like even holding it when you're doing that, like it was like tipping from left to right, like. But I stabilized it was fine. And obviously I didn't realize this either, but like when you're doing that lifting really heavy, there's these bars on the side of a squat rack. So if it does, you're meant to like let your hands go and let it roll off your back basically. Yeah. It would make a fucking loud noise because it would crash on these bars. It'd be so embarrassing. I was like, I'm not doing that, but I didn't anyway. And honestly I did my full reps and everything. Like I didn't
That's
stop.
so good.
And anyway, yeah, so I was like,
does he spot you?
No.
Oh,
is that when they stand behind you?
yeah.
And what, like...
Yeah.
You always see, like, creepy videos on TikTok of, like, weird people in the gym saying, oh, yeah, gone to help this nice lady's doing spotting or whatever.
Yeah, I always see so many videos on TikTok.
There's nothing like that going on.
I wouldn't mind a sexy guy spotting me. I want a weirdo.
No, there wasn't any of that. He must have really believed in me.
Yeah, he must have, because I think it's quite a lot to not spot.
Yeah, well, anyway, so I did it, and I was like, cool, that was a lot. And then I remembered like obviously how much the weight was, and like my PT was like, wow, slay queen, that was really good. And then I was like, okay, cool, I did something good there. I don't know what I did, but yeah. And then I came out and like told my friend Lacey French, who is actually a personal trainer, and some of you guys train with her online. And so does Abby, obviously.
Me,
yeah. So if you guys want an online personal trainer, you can explain.
If you want guns like this.
Yeah, if you want to look as fit.
I was literally looking. I'm not gonna get them out.
Have you got guns?
I was looking in the mirror this morning and I was like, whoa, honey.
Do you?
Yeah,
wow.
like I'll show you later.
I feel like I've got more of a like definition here. Like, do you know what I mean? What is that called?
I don't know. Literally this morning,
it's the muscle in between your boob and your like shoulder. It's like on your shoulder, like that bit.
Yeah, that.
Like, what is it?
I don't know. Honestly, I was looking in the mirror this morning and I was like, that felt so much harder. I was like, I swear I never used to have a muscle there. Like that used to be a bone and now it's a muscle.
Wow,
it's really weird. Well, no, it's really.
I actually said to Lacey yesterday, "Am I going to get bulky from this weight?" She went, I don't want to be horrible to you, but that's the stupidest thing you can ever say. She was like, if you say that to anyone in the fitness industry, they'll literally roll their eyes at you and tell you to shut the F up. Because she was like, genetically, women can't get that as big as what you are going to think you can get. Like, as in, I'm going to look like a man with arms or something like that. Like, she was like, genetic, you don't have enough testosterone, just calm down, mate. Like there's
to get
nothing,
really bulky.
keep lift. She was like, she fucking hell, she lifts heavy.
Oh yeah, and she's like so
She does
toned and
300 kilograms on a leg
That's
press.
nuts.
She's crazy, and she's so petite and small. She's a little weapon. But she was like, no, that is just like societal conditioning, because so many women think that they're going to do that from little weights. All weight's going to do is tone you up, help you be stronger, actually help you burn more calories at rest, boost your metabolism, because it takes more energy to like have muscle.
Yeah,
So,
I saw a TikTok the other day, and it was like this muscly girl, and she was like, I hate it when girls say to me like, oh, I wouldn't lift because I don't want to look like that. And she's like, do you have any idea how
much
much
dedication
work?
it takes to get that?
Yeah, to get
I know.
like that. Like
They said that to me as well. She was like, yeah, and I was like, no, you're so right. I'm being a twat.
Yeah, you got to go for like hours and be on some crazy diets.
Yeah, she was like, you need
that.
to be eating so many calories and protein shakes and all this stuff to get bulky. Like, calm down. But anyway, so yeah, I squatted that much, and basically I came out and I told her, and she was like, she was like, she was like, you've either not counted that right, or you're freakishly strong, because what the fuck. And then I told some other people, and they were like, are you fucking serious? And I was like, wow, I didn't realize I slayed so hard in the gym today.
Yeah, you did.
And do you know what? I felt so good once I was getting the validation from everyone. But as in, like, not because I didn't realize what I'd done at the time, but as in, like, I was like, there's actually, but no, but that's such a good thing to feel proud of yourself about. That's such a good
100%.
thing to get validation about. To be getting stronger like that. Like, we should all have goals like that.
Yeah.
It's not like buzzing from validation of someone saying you look fit on Instagram, you know?
Yeah.
It's different. Knowing you're getting stronger like that, it's some like kind of emotional feeling that you've never experienced before.
Yeah, no, and I think
it.
it translates into like, if you wake up in the morning, you get a PB at the gym, then like that accomplishment infiltrates like your whole day.
Yeah, you just feel like, oh my god, I could do anything.
Yeah,
you know,
but honeys, if you want to get validation on Instagram, that comment just threw me, because everyone's got to get somewhere.
Oh yeah, I'm also here for Instagram validation.
But
I'm just saying it was hitting different, like I hadn't experienced it before.
Yeah, because I feel like it is the your mind as well, like with hitting a PB and stuff. I feel like you release some like crazy endorphins.
Yeah, definitely. I was feeling
We need so much
chemically in my brain.
I
was feeling good. But anyway, why I brought this up was because I noticed at the gym, I was like, I'm so short of breath, because that's what you get when you get anxious.
Anxious.
Yeah, and I was like, I can't catch my breath. Is it because I just squatted so much, or is it because I'm nervous? And I was like, I think it's because I've got anxiety, secret anxiety. And then like, anyway, and then Friday, that was Thursday, and then Friday, I can't even remember, but Saturday, I was being toxic, wasn't I? No, wasn't me. I was.
Well, let's just set the scene. I'm there like just on this training weekend, but at this point we're just having a meal, relaxing, enjoying the Saturday. What time was it? Like
10 p.m.
Yeah, it felt later. It's like 10 p.m. And then when we edit the episode and then you upload it onto like the hosting platform, it sends a notification to say that it's processed. And anyway,
on emails, all of everyone's emails that's linked to it. So mine, yours, and our podcast email.
You can't miss grind.
No,
you can't. So it gets a notification at 10 o'clock on a Saturday. Your episode has finished processing. And I was just like, why is Grace working right now? Like, so somebody just take her out or something. Not a guy. Like, I was just like, why is she not out?
Yeah, I was being so toxic. I was being such toxic productivity person, because I was literally sat there and I was like, I'd been out in the morning, I'd gone out for lunch with my mum, had a nice time, come home, and then I was like lying on my bed and I was like, so I could pick up my Kindle right now, I could watch The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, I could cook, I could do something on my silly long to-do list for the weekend that I wrote, of like all this random personal admin stuff that I had to do.
You did say you had a to-do list.
Yeah, I did.
Weekend to-do list.
I did, and I think that wasn't helping with my secret anxiety, to be honest. And then I just thought, I could do a bit of editing. I could do a bit of work. Because I always think I never associate finding your feet with work, because I love it so much. So even like editing, I'm like, I enjoy doing it.
Yeah.
And so anyway, so I started editing like loads of TikTok clips and then the episode, and then anyway, and then I woke up on Sunday and I was like, I have anxiety again. So I went to Pilates, obviously calms you down. That was good. And then I just thought, right, Grace, let's just check in for a second, because you are off your tits right now. Like, I got to the gym half an hour before my class thinking that it started at a time it didn't, and raised cortisol pumping through my veins to get there for 10 when I actually started at 10:30. And I was like, right, great. Now I'm here for half an hour and what am I going to do now? Like, and I just thought,
get the laptop out.
yeah, literally I thought I actually need to edit a little reel for someone. So why don't I do it on my phone right now? And I just thought, no, end this toxic productivity now. It needs to stop. And I just like was sat down and I was like, right, just calm the fuck down, okay? Just calm down. You're running a million miles an hour and you don't need to be. Just relax, okay? We have anxiety. There's fight or flight going on right now. Secret anxiety is here. Why is it here? Like I just was like, what am I thinking about? And then I just realized I'm thinking right in the back of my head that I wasn't being conscious that I was thinking. And this is always what I think about when I get secret anxiety. It's like, you're not doing enough. You need to, the internal pressure, just like you're not doing enough. So you need to do more, you need to do this, which is obviously why what will have been subconsciously feeding through to me on Saturday when I decided to stop working.
Yeah, and you didn't even clock.
No, exactly. Yeah. So that's why I wanted to like do this episode today, because like it's internal pressure comes from your inner critic. Like this whole thing, inner critic, internal pressure, it's like a thing that we all have, and it's like it's hard because in some ways it's great because it will drive you to like do things, but in other ways it can be such like a curse because there's a line, you have to have like boundaries within yourself. It's a thing you have to manage because it can so easily get out of control.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's the key thing, is that you have to have like a boundary.
Yeah.
Exactly, it drives you to achieve the things you want to achieve. But when you don't have a boundary, which I definitely don't do at times as well, because everything you're explaining, I'm like, literally, that has been me lately.
Why? What's your boundary? How do you know when you've crossed the line?
Well, I know.
What are you doing? Are you up at 3 a.m? Working?
No, well, I just feel like I do that in a sense, like not always, but like a lot of the time I feel like I'm not doing enough. And I think as well because we are high achievers, like I gotta say that, like you can a lot of the time feel like you're not doing enough even when you're doing the most, but then like the more you kind of put the pressure on yourself, the more, and like you compare yourself to people and you feel like you're doing
I'm a joke. I'll fucking compare myself to Stephen Bartlett or something. I'm ridiculous. As in like when I remember when he, because this is where my brain goes and I have to stop myself. I'm, what the hell are you doing? Like, as in I remember when he announced he was putting 2 episodes out a week, and I was like, we need to put 2 out a week, like come on. And I thought, can you please calm down, Grace? Like, you and Abby do this entirely by yourself. No one helps you with it. He honestly has a team of 10 people who do his podcast. He's got a person who does all the filming. He's got someone whose full-time job it is to make those fancy fucking videos that you see on Instagram of his episodes where everyone's crying in it. Like, what the hell? And I just thought, you need to calm down. But like, that's where my brain goes unless I say, honey, put the fucking brakes on, pull over, get out the car. I'm driving now. Let's slow down. We're not going to good places here.
No, it's like, I think that's it, is like building the self-awareness of knowing when you're taking it too far. I think as well with like having your own business, it is a tricky one because like sometimes in my logic, I'm like, I'll work and disperse things like, oh, I'll just do a bit of work on Sunday because then it makes your life easier
in the week.
But then Monday, does it actually, because then you're not switching off and you're not having a break, do you know what I mean? So it's like all these ins and outs. But I noticed that I was doing that where I was like trying to maximize my time in the week, getting the most out of the week, and then I'd be like, okay, well, I've got a Saturday now, so I should do things to progress on the Saturday as well. Like, what do I like? Life admin. What do I want to do?
Yeah.
And then I feel like I was always putting expectations on the Saturday, and then I'd actually get really annoyed at myself when I didn't do it. So then on the Sunday, I'd wake up and be like, oh God, say I had a plan for Sunday. Oh, I don't have time to do what I was going to do on Saturday now. And I was like, when am I actually switching off? Like, I'm physically not switching off from like productivity, from getting things done. So I invented this thing in my head. I'm sure I didn't hear it everywhere. I'm sure I just invented it. And it's called No Expectations Saturdays. So obviously it's got to be kind of like a free day, but I just give myself no expectations on a Saturday. And don't get me wrong, when I first did this, it didn't really work. Like, I was like, no expectations Saturdays, and then I was like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna do that and do that. So that was literally the toxic
it's
productivity.
It's a process.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. The idea is there, and I am doing it on Saturdays where I have a free day, because I just think you need like at least one day to like just really switch off. And obviously as well, the idea of no expectations is that like, if you have something really important that you do want to do, obviously you can do it, but if you don't do it, you don't beat yourself up. I think
Yeah.
for me, what like it comes where it like really would affect my life is where I beat myself up for not doing something, and then I'm like, you've just put like your all into this week, like give yourself a fucking break.
Yeah.
Because you're just gonna burn out if you just keep trying to produce and then getting annoyed at yourself when you don't produce. All you're gonna do is burn out, and then you can't give to the next week. Like you have to physically switch off.
Yeah.
So I would recommend everybody to have this kind of no expectation thing, because well, I mean, that's what I was saying to you before as well about this whole idea of expectations and how I've like realized that I think depending on like your teenagers and your school years and stuff, I think like the things you go for, obviously you can attach like your worth to like your work and what you achieve and stuff like that. And I just think through school and through college and everything, I've always like really liked to be on it, always liked to produce, always like.
I remember like that about you.
Yeah.
When we were 17, you were slaying, and I felt so bad about myself because I was like, fuck me, what am I doing? I'm not slaying at all. How much of a non-slay was I at college?
Yeah, but I think just because you didn't enjoy it, so
no,
I
didn't.
Just can't.
I was like, what the hell am I doing?
Yeah, but obviously, like being run by that and that need to produce and stuff is obviously good in a way, because like I said, I wouldn't be here, I wouldn't have done my uni degree and things like that if I wasn't actually quite like on it. So to that degree it's good, but obviously it all kind of narrows down to attaching your worth to work, because you wouldn't be overworking and like always being on the mark and always getting everything done if you weren't attaching your worth and like your validation to your work, which obviously makes the world go round, because if not we wouldn't be here, we'd just all be flying around dancing and stuff, which I sometimes fantasize about. But
you're gonna have your moment. It's coming.
It's coming eventually. But yeah, so in a way it drives you, but then I also notice how I can definitely attach my worth to work, and that's where it's the problem, because that's not reality. Like you're whole and you're happy and you're like you're enough as you are. It's not what you produce. It's not your career. It's not the business you have. Like that's all actual bullshit and just noise. Like that's amazing, but it's just noise. Like
it's capitalism.
And you have to like feel enough in yourself and know that, like, because if you don't do that, if you don't feel enough in yourself, then you're always going to feel like you've been like hit by a bus when something goes wrong or when you don't produce.
Or like something doesn't work out. But also it's like there's other areas of your life that are important to build up as well. Like if you were someone who was just so obsessed with work that you had no other hobbies, like, then I get it, because sometimes what typically happens when you end up as a person like that is that you've tied your work into what you're passionate about. You basically monetized your hobbies, and so but you can become someone who's got like no interests outside of work of what you're doing, or like no strong relationships outside of work, like because you don't put energy into them, and that's like not good either, because so it's like that quote as well, like stop measuring your days in in terms of like productivity and start measuring them in terms of presence, something like that. Which I absolutely love. I think I've like literally started doing that, like thinking, because the days where I feel absolutely wiped out to the world is when I've like not kind of interacted, not been present with people, or like I've just been like completely on autopilot, like just on my phone or whatever, like scrolling, and you're not present. I think like presence is the most important thing in the world. Like it's like with your family, with your friends, even in meetings and stuff like that, like finding moments to be present with yourself, that's what gives you a fulfilling day. But you can still do that alongside all your work. But I think like that's so true. Like don't measure it in productivity, measure it in presence. Do you mean like slaying a meeting but then still having time to talk to Sally at the coffee station at work? Is that what you mean? Kind of, but I mean even like in a meeting, being present, being there, just being where you are instead of being so like stressed out and overworked that like you can't even focus on the present moment. Do you know what? I was literally just scrolling TikTok before we started recording this. When I was inhaling my soup so we could come and record. So I was not being present with my soup. And I actually thought, this is going to give me indigestion. I'm like breathing this in, I need to calm down. But when I was on TikTok, so there was a lot going on. I was inhaling my soup, I was on TikTok, and I was also thinking, fuck me, I need to hurry up and get on this recording. Well, we're going to run out of time. So much going on. So much non-present. But when I was scrolling on it, this TikTok came up from a clip from the new Kardashian episode that's out today, but obviously you guys listening to this a week later, so it would have been last week's episode. And so I haven't seen the episode yet, obviously, but like the clips just come out as soon as the episode comes out.
Yeah, you basically watch the whole episode.
Yeah. But it was Kim saying that this is how she like runs her life, and she related to a film, and I can't remember what she said it was called. She said it had Tom Cruise in or something. But how basically in the film, I think he said he looks at his life in slides, and this is what she does. So she's like, okay, my mom's in hospital having an operation, looking at this slide, like, how are we dealing with this? And then she like swipes it away, and they put the slides up on the screen while she's doing it, like, so you understand what she's saying. And then she's like, okay, Chloe's having a drama, we're just focusing on this, and then it's done, and then you slide it away. Okay, need to do something for Skims, looking at that, and then sliding away. She's basically saying that like she would just focus on that one thing at one time, and that's how she said that it's a very rare trait. Like, not a lot of people have the ability to do that, but she thinks that's how she's able to live the life she does. Because obviously her life's mental. Like, did you watch it's so random I'm now talking about Kardashians, but like, did you watch the episode the week before last?
Yeah.
Where they had the Skims dinner.
Yeah.
And then they're all going out in Miami after, but she's not, because she sat in the hotel room where they're partying. Chloe's like, come on, bitch, let's go out. And Kim is like on her computer reviewing all the pictures that have to go out that night, looking at which ones are nice and which ones are not. And she's like fully just focusing on that. I'm like, how are you doing that? There's chaos going on in that corner of people getting drunk, trying to make you party with them. And you're here with like your assistant going through your laptop, looking at all these pictures that you have to put live that night.
Yeah.
It's like, there's so much going on right now, but you are so calm.
Yeah, she is like another level. Like, she's absolutely incredible. But you could definitely hear as well how, like, and I'm not saying this is judgment because we're saying that as well. Like, you could hear in that episode how she was basically saying how she attaches so much of her worth to work.
Yeah, well, I just think that you don't really get to that place unless you have a huge... Yeah, because I remember
she's like a freaking...
She's a
like
slay.
A pocket rocket. Like, she
slays so hard.
She does, and she's so, like, professional about it, though. I feel like she's so on it. Like, really inspiring, but...
I like how her and Chloe are always, like, saying that if they commit to something and work, like, they just do it.
Yeah.
Like, they're there and they do it.
Yeah, they see it through. They show up.
Yeah, whereas, like, obviously Courtney's really different. She never wanted... She's not like that. And they would always argue about that. Yeah. I'm not saying, like... But I do respect that in like Kim and Chloe, like they're like that. But I remember the first time that I heard somebody say about like how you always admire people that have like done these amazing things with a career or like really successful or whatever. But they said, but actually sometimes that can literally be run by a wound that they don't feel enough. So they have to prove themselves. Yeah. So they prove themselves to this extreme point of being extremely successful. But inside their mind, that might not actually be feeling any sense of fulfillment because they're being driven by this really deep wound of like, I'm not enough. I need to prove myself. And I remember when I heard that, I thought, fucking hell, never thought of it like that. But that is true. Like, I remember there's always people talking about like Tiger Woods.
Yeah, I was going to say him.
Because it sounded like emotional abuse, to be honest. Like the way he was brought up by his dad. Yeah. And that they had a safe word for him, for Tiger. Was he actually called, his first name's Tiger, right? I'm guessing it is. Or is it his golf name? I don't know. Anyway, we're going to go on. I have no idea. I don't know that much about golf. So, but this example like gets brought up quite a lot like by other people in podcasting. It has always stuck in my head. Like, yeah, me too. Yeah, that he had a safe word with his dad that he could say when his dad was just pushing him too hard. And I think they said that he never used the safe word. But I don't know that much about Tiger Woods, but I do know that he's had quite a lot of trauma now as an adult. Like, I swear he's like had a lot of relationship problems. I swear he's had maybe some drug problems and like crashing cars and things like that. Quite a lot of chaos going on. So, but anyway, what we're basically trying to get at here...
Tiger Woods don't come for us.
Yeah, it is... Yeah, any like diehard Tiger Woods people, I'm sorry if I've like misquoted the story or whatever, but you get the point. But like, it's, you know, that's why as well, like, that internal pressure in your inner critic is sometimes fueled by looking at other people that are really successful or something, or like, and you're like, what? Oh, well, they're better than me, so that like, what? Well, actually, you know, they could actually be quite hollow inside because they're chasing that wrong thing. They're doing it from
not from
when you're pushing yourself past that boundary where it's like, okay, I'm just, you know, like me, right? Working on a Saturday. I mean, because this is my thought process. I could sit here and relax. I could read. I could chill. I could, you know, have some time. I could just, you know, rest and do whatever the fuck I want. But or I could work. Why don't I work? That's going to make me more enough. 'Cause if I work, if I pump out some more TikToks, might get some more TikTok followers on their podcast page and get more listeners and get more validation. You know, like that's really what my subconscious mind was doing. And it's like, and then if I edit the episode now, I'll have more time to hustle on Monday, which means more output, which means more success. Obviously I'm going to do this. So that's literally where my brain went. But what's that stemming from? It's stemming from I am not enough as I am. I must do more. And that's where it's that blessing and a curse. And you have to know that boundary within yourself. And I crossed the line. And I suffered the consequences of turning up to the gym half an hour before my thing in a flap. Because I was so like, you know, and that's when I was like, look, Grace, just come back down. Just get your fucking... I just went and sat in the bathroom cubicle for a bit and just was like...
Had a moment.
Right, let's just stop. Let's stop this. But that's what it's driven from when you're behaving like that. It's like, I'm not enough. So like you have to come back to like rejigging the mind. But I think that as well, it's not just like, oh, you're just born with that as a insecurity. Like I think society feeds you that because if we want to get into capitalism and all that, and to be honest, I enjoy capitalism. I enjoy making money and buying myself nice things. I enjoy all of this stuff. So I'm not saying that I don't like it and I want to, you know, live in the fields and not have anything to do with electricity or money. But what I'm saying is this capitalism, the economy obviously benefits from us feeling like we want to work hard, do a lot, blah, blah. So, you know, and that's good because we should be encouraged to do that. I always like it when Grace Beverly's so frank about this. She's like, because she obviously will get criticized sometimes for being a productivity obsessed person, but she is, because she's passionate about time management. And I mean, look at her career, she slays, she does a lot, but she is wholesome about it. Like she's got that really good book. But anyway, she always says, like, I think she went on Ali Abdal's podcast and I saw like the clip about it, and she was like, you have to work. It doesn't matter if you don't want to or not. You have to make money. We all have to work. So like we have to, but there's a line. Obviously, like you can work so hard. It's like capitalism and a bit of society, they are feeding into you that you will be more worthy if you are slaying so hard. And obviously, like, you know, the world is, you get a lot of validation from that.
Yeah, you programmed it every single day.
You haven't come up with this insecurity out of nowhere, you know?
Yeah.
We all have it, but it's like, it will literally like tip you over the edge if you're not careful. But I actually think it can be the same, not in terms of just toxic productivity, but like social pressure as well. Like, you know, you're on no expectations Saturdays. I think we need to apply this as well to FOMO. Because you know what I mean? Like, I always feel like Sundays, they're like, everyone knows Sundays are a chill vibe, you know? No one's going out partying really. Like, you don't feel like you should be somewhere else if you're having a Sunday.
No.
Just, you know,
Saturday's
being restful.
a FOMO day.
But Saturday there's a FOMO energy in the world. Do you remember when it was lockdown and FOMO disappeared because no one had it and everyone got happier? I'm not saying I want to go back to that life because I really don't. I do not. Sometimes it pops into my mind and I'm like, ew.
Yeah, I was actually thinking about it last night and I was like, God, it was such a weird time.
It's fucking
just, like,
weird.
Really weird. Like, no one was on the streets.
No, and now I think about now what makes me so happy is all things that I couldn't have actually really done in lockdown. But we all survived. We all made it through. We're all thriving. But yeah, you know, like it's the same with social pressure, like so FOMO, you know, like what if you feel like you have to go out, but what if you want to actually just stay in and stop feeling bad about it? Like, how are you going to actually... I remember I actually saw someone saying about how, like, as well, you get burnt out because when you are resting, you're feeling so bad about the fact you're resting, because burnout is a lot about emotional overwhelm as well, not just like physically being run down, but like how, you know, like part of the reason why you get burnt out is because when you are actually letting yourself rest, like maybe having an afternoon in bed, you feel so bad about it. So you're not even resting. You're just lying there churning through emotions of guilt and all this crap, and you're not actually resting. Like, it's just a lot.
It is. Well, I feel like for me it's more that, like, I literally get burnt out more from the emotions, from the guilt, and then from
like the overwhelm.
The overwhelm is huge, especially when like you feel like you're underachieving but you're actually not. But yeah, just back to what you were saying about the tiger was like when I can't remember what podcast it's on where they were explaining it, and they were saying that like you look at people and want their lives.
Oh yeah.
Or you think you want, they've
Yeah.
achieved this, how fucking incredible. But it's like, do you actually want everything they've been through?
Yeah, you have
and that
to.
was like the penny drop moment for me.
Is it Jordan? I think it might be Jordan Peterson that like was the first person to say all that.
Yeah, because Tiger Woods is like the perfect example, isn't it? Because of what his dad put him through. So it's like people could look at him and be like, oh my God, he's like the best golfer in the world or whatever.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, God, I can only imagine achieving that. Like, you want it so bad, like maybe someone that's into golf, but you don't actually want what people have been through.
Yeah, if you want to have that success, you got to take all the
you got to take it all.
to get it.
Not just the good parts. You got to take it all. So that's why I like that thing of like, you know, when people say like, if you put all your problems in a pile, like you still take
you'd
back
grab
your own.
yours back.
You honestly would. And I always think that like when I'm looking at successful people now, because in the past I don't feel like I did. Like say, just bring it back to Kardashians. I absolutely loved the Kardashians when I was growing up, and I probably definitely looked at them and was like, oh my God, I want their lives so bad. But like say now I've grown and I'm more self-aware, I was watching that episode of Kim and I was like, God, like I witnessed how incredible she is, but I was like 100% like she's definitely got a really like long running thing of not being enough, which we all have to a degree. But like I could see that so present in her, that she's this like incredible woman, and I was like, she doesn't feel enough at all, and that's what runs all her businesses, and like that's fine. But I think having the awareness,
and we enjoy her, so
and capitalism
keep slaying.
But I think having that awareness is so important, because then you're not going to look at people's lives and be like, oh my God, I just want to be there, because you're literally just seeing like a tiny little fraction of the picture, and then you're going to be less hard on yourself, because everyone's got like their own shit and their own things that drive them.
Yeah.
But I do think as well, like that is quite an open-ended question for me, is like, how it's such like a universal wound of not being enough that is like perpetuating. We all know what you mean. Yeah, I was going to say perpetuated to us. I don't know if that's the right way to say it, but to us every day, like so unconsciously. And like, I just find it really interesting, like stuff like that, like on adverts, like everything. I know you were saying it before, but like everything you see is trying to make you feel like you're not enough, like everything. So it's so hard to like it's such a massive, real problem that drives us well, but it's like, it drives us all, but like, yeah, when does it become an issue? It becomes an issue when you're overworked, you're stressed out, and then you end up burnt out. And that's when you have to really look inside and think like, how can I feel enough and not attach it to what I'm producing, what I'm putting out in the world?
Yeah, there's so much like internalized, deep, random stuff, like, you know, thinking that if you lift some weights, you're gonna end up looking like Arnold Schwarzenegger. You know, like it's just not gonna happen. But like, where does that come from? But I actually saw, this is a very random example, but it shook me to my core. I was on TikTok again, and there was this Disney Plus had posted this video, and it was of, do you remember the Big Blue Bear or something like that?
Yeah,
the Big Blue Bear says goodnight or something like that. It's like this weird show with the bear. So they're saying that basically you can now watch all of those old episodes on Disney Plus if anyone wants to go watch them. So they were advertising basically that it's out. So it was a clip from the show, and the bear opens the door and he goes and sniffs the camera, and because he's trying to sniff you, and then he says, and then he went, "You smell so good and healthy. Did you drink some milk today?" And then I was like, milk? Because then I thought, well, what the fuck was the messaging of diet culture and health advice at the time when that was out? Because when I was probably under the age of 10 when that show was out, it was drink milk. Do you remember?
Yeah.
Drink cow's milk and your bones will grow stronger. Calcium, do you remember? Petit Flou to help your bones grow stronger. And it's like, what? Like, because now, you know, everyone's obsessed with nut milk.
Yeah.
And nobody thinks cow's milk is a slay anymore. So, you know, but it's like, do you remember there was that thing where like milk was healthy, it gives you good teeth, or all these kinds of stuff.
Yeah, like drink a glass of milk.
But now some people are like, no, fuck milk, drink the nut milk, drink the oat, don't drink oat milk, drink this milk. Like, do you know what I mean? But then I thought that show, that bear was putting into a child's subconscious that they should be drinking milk. And I thought, and I know that's really random, but I'm using it as an example to show, fucking hell, what other things did we soak up? Because knowing that obviously what milk culture's like now, I'm like, that hasn't aged well. That's so weird. Why has he said that? But at the time, it probably wasn't weird. Like, a parent sat there, probably wouldn't have thought it's weird because it was probably also in the era of when... Do you remember the Special K diet?
Oh yeah, all that craziness.
Eat 2 bowls of Special K for 14 days and you'll drop 4 dress sizes or something. Why the fuck would you eat 2 bowls of cereal? Like, that's really not very good choice, is it? Like, because now we're all like, get the protein in, get your micronutrients in, balance this, blah, you know, like that kind of advice wouldn't fly now. So it's just funny.
That literally, I can just imagine them in like a board meeting or something like the.
Yeah, I remember the advert.
Special K. Like,
yeah, they had, it was like fit in your jeans. It was like this jeans thing, and then they had this red tape around the stomach, and then it went into the K. I remember, it's all core memory. It was such a distinctive part of culture.
But it's literally just like, how can we, like, we've literally got a cereal. How can we profit off their insecurities? Let's tell them they can drop like 4 dress sizes from eating cereal. Like, that shit just wouldn't fly out. I'm so glad it does not.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, we did grow up. I mean, at least we didn't grow up with like TikTok and stuff, but we grew up in a time where, like, especially, what's it called?
Magazines.
No, I was going to say like food culture. What's it called?
Diet culture.
Oh, yeah. We grew up in a time where like diet culture was nuts. Like the amount of
crazy
stuff we used to internalize, like the
beach
adverts,
bodies, like rating beach bodies, like who's got the best, who's got the worst,
like just absolutely awful.
Crazy.
But at least we didn't have. I'm just so glad we didn't have Instagram and all that growing up.
Yeah, I'm glad I didn't have it, because I would have posted loads of weird shit.
I suppose all generations have the thing, like we didn't have that, and then like our grandparents had like the war, so can't really compare it.
No.
Yeah, so just to kind of like wrap up this episode, I saw this fabulous quote on Instagram. A few people shared it, and I don't know who.
Must have been hitting hard with everyone.
It was hitting hard, and when I first read it, I was like, you just spoke to my soul. I felt seen, you know, people say I did feel seen, because I've had days like this, and you're like, well, it's basically everything we just spoke about today. So it said, on the days where you have 40% and you give 40%, you gave 100%. Because that's all you had to give.
Yeah, I love that.
And that's all you can do. On those days where you just like don't have it in you, you can try your best, but like you can't give it any more than like, then you can, like you literally can't, because the minute you try and give more than you can, that's where the guilt and anxiety and everything sets in.
Yeah. So
I feel like that quote literally just sums up like not being so hard on yourself and having the boundary and understanding that you are enough regardless of what you produce that day. Like, you are not your work.
Yeah, love that. So let's all keep slaying our internal boundaries, managing our inner critic, managing our inner pressure pots, and just making sure that, you know, we're using them as a driving force forward to create the life we want, but we're also not doing it at the detriment of our sanity.
Yeah, just finding the line.
Thank you so much for listening, guys. We release episodes every single Wednesday, so come back next week to see what we are talking about in the next episode. And if you love this, then leave us a little rating on Apple, on Spotify, and you can also watch all of our episodes as well on our YouTube channel, Finding Your Feet Podcast. It's linked in the show notes. We release all of our episodes on YouTube too, if you prefer to watch them in our cute little studio. And also you can keep up with us on social media at Find Your Feet Podcast on TikTok and Instagram to keep the vibes going outside of just the Wednesday episode.
Thank you guys, and we will see you in the next episode.
Bye.